I wanted to talk for a few minutes about who is our neighbor. Most of the time, you think your neighbors are the people who live in the house next door or the apartment across the way or whatever, some you talk to regularly. But that's not what the Bible says, who is your neighbor. Jesus was teaching one day when he was telling everyone to love your neighbor as yourself. And the Pharisees were trying to trick him, so one Pharisee had a couple questions for him. His second question to Jesus was, how do I know who is my neighbor? In reply, he told the story of the Good Samaritan. Now, you have to remember at the time that Samaritans were not really close with the Jewish people. They lived nearby, but they weren't really what you'd consider neighbors. They would almost be considered enemies, so to speak. So Jesus tells the story of the Good Samaritan about a man who, upon his travels, is robbed and pretty much left for dead alongside the road. And first you see a Levi, which is a member of the religious sect of the Hebrews. And he's on the same side of the road, and he sees this man laying there in great pain, a lot of bruises all over his body and face. And Levi wants nothing to do with him and crosses the street. Well, after some time, along comes the rabbi. This is supposed to be a teacher, a man of God. He sees this man laying there, bleeding and bruised. He too crosses the street, doesn't touch him. Well, after some time, along comes a Samaritan. And the Samaritan sees him and takes pity on him. Picks up the man, puts him across his own animal. When they get to the nearest town, he checks him into an inn to take care of him. He bandages his bruise, uses oil and other herbs to help heal him, and binds them in the dressings. When he goes to leave, he goes to the innkeeper and says, take care of this man, and when I come back this way, I'll pay you for what you have done. When the story was over, Jesus asked the Pharisee, he says, so who would you consider to be the good neighbor? And he said the one who helped him. This was a person who was not a member of their sect. So as we go about our days and we go on our travels, we will see many people. A lot of them in distress. And sometimes there'll be small things and sometimes there'll be big things. But we need to decide, are we going to be the good neighbor? Are we going to be the good Samaritan? Just something to think about.